In all honesty, there are countless episodes of Spongebob I could have talked about in this video, but I just wanted to talk about the ones that I felt were actually meant to be Halloween specials. It dawns on me that Spongebob seems to appreciate horror culture and Halloween more than Christmas and winter media, and that really resonates with me. To the point that it was a tough call not just saying, hey, let's talk about all the spooky episodes. Kinda gotta keep the Halloween train on its tracks. Pretty much any episode featuring the Flying Dutchman as one of the major characters is at least themed spookily, like Mr. Krabs dying, him turning SpongeBob and Patrick into ghosts for shaving off his beard, him living with SpongeBob and scaring him until he's desensitized to it, him turning SpongeBob and Patrick into part of his crew to scare the citizens, the works. SpongeBob seems to always have room for more and more spooky material, and that's always welcome in my book.
Those guys are dorks.
Yes, but they're my dorks.
First and most obvious is Scaredy Pants. What can I say about it? Everyone knows this one. Everyone. I could put this one up with the great classic cartoon Halloween specials because it's Scaredy Pants. SpongeBob can't handle the spooks, so he tries dressing up as something spooky to scare the others, unsuccessfully, but in the end, he spooks off the real threat. It's not really something I can analyze, it's just tight comedy, and that's all that SpongeBob has ever been. SpongeBob works for a reason. It never tries to be any more than it is, because what it is solid and it works. Of course, I appreciate a good story and some interesting think pieces to chew and ruminate on, but there's a reason comedy series tend to last the longest. Give some good characters funny situations to work with, and you can last as long as SpongeBob has. It's also strange seeing how well this episode captured a really relatable moment. Alone in a dimly lit room with no one around and strange noises and things starting to happen around you. Despite SpongeBob being a scaredy pants, even I was spooked by this scene as a kid. And to this day I can still appreciate the atmosphere it manages to channel.
I've come for your pickle.
I'm not consenting to this!
Trick or treat!
Don't feel too bad, SpongeBob. I'd react the same way if a random child just materialized stage left in front of me. Speaking of scary things, did you know that there was a still deleted from this episode? It was a close-up shot of SpongeBob with his brain exposed. I'm not sure why it was cut, though. Maybe they thought it was a bit too intense for the target audience? Either way, trivia nugget or not, Scaredy Pants is just super nostalgic for me, and I could easily see it taking a place in the top 10 greatest Halloween specials of all time. The next one I was kind of contemplating whether or not it was a Halloween special or just another one of those many spooky themed episodes that SpongeBob had, but I have proof that it is. There, see, the calendar says so. It's a Halloween special. Ghoul Fools is very hit or miss with its comedy, honestly. This was not only when they couldn't nail the jokes, but this was around the time when they thought the funniest thing that they could do was just to cause Squidward suffering. You want to see post-first movie SpongeBob that actually did fucking with Squidward right? Ghost Toast is a perfect example, because not only is that not the bulk of the episode, Squidward kinda deserves it, because at the beginning of the episode, SpongeBob is clearly in distress and Squidward does nothing to help. So at the end of the episode, he gets paid back for his apathy towards SpongeBob's plight, but in no way that causes him irreversible harm, losses, or damages. He just gets scared out of his pants. Which, punishment weighed with offense, is just. Kinda like how it was in pre-movie SpongeBob. Darn it, now I'm talking about Ghost Toast. I like that episode. I like how SpongeBob works up the courage to go back to his house immediately when he's worried that Gary might be in danger. I like how SpongeBob gets completely desensitized to the Dutchman's scaring, but wants to help him realize that he's still scary. SpongeBob's a good guy, but this was still when he had his limits. He was nice, but reasonable. And Squidward's scare at the end was wonderful. It's a good episode. Unfortunately, Ghoul Fools also took place during the time where they had completely ruined Patrick's character. He wasn't a harmless, hilarious idiot that genuinely cared about his friends during the time like he used to. This was the point where they had turned him into a blissfully ignorant asshole that only cared about himself. The fact that SpongeBob and the others got into this situation in the first place was because of him, and also slightly because of Mr. Krabs wanting to steal the ghost's treasure, but that only worsens the matter.
Look at the attention to detail in his mouth!
Slow down there, me. Look at the detail in his mouth. It may seem like I'm ragging a bit hard on Ghoul Fools, but I honestly do enjoy this episode. The song is okay, and yeah, the comedy is hit or miss, but when it hits, it hits.
Hey, those guys are insane!
There's some genuinely god-tier humor in this, like that anchovy pizza joke. And to this visual gag, do you notice something? Something, let's say, interesting amongst this wall of photos? You may look at other shows and say, wow, they got away with that. But SpongeBob SquarePants is a show that has a dick pic hidden in the background.
Welcome to the void!
Well, what kind of void? I've consorted with several different voids, abysses, and endless darknesses in my time. The thing I enjoy the most about this episode is just how imaginative it is. I love how Mr. Krabs, Patrick, and Squidward end up being punished in the void. It's also hilarious. Mr. Krabs ironically having to grapple with a pay toilet with his ill-gotten gains. Patrick, hilariously enough, ending up tormenting the thing that's meant to be tormenting him. But Squidward? Squidward's punishment is perfect.
Hi, neighbor.
But honestly, as imaginative as it is, the next episode is more imaginative, has a better song, the characters are on point, and honestly, the stop-motion aesthetic works perfectly in this. Legend of Boo-kini Bottom may in fact tangle with Scaredy Pants for the position of Best SpongeBob SquarePants Halloween episode. Not only that, but this may simply be one of the best, and one of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob to date. Firstly, it's Halloween, so you've already shot up the ranks with ease. The episode is genuinely funny and interesting throughout. The practical effects are wonderful and pair greatly with the visual humor. It's got a pretty catchy song to go with it, and this one actually has a theme and moral.
It's scary, but...
Now it's terrifying. Congratulations, SpongeBob, your house is now contaminated. Glitter is evil, and so are you for blowing it into the water like that. So this episode is just full to the brim with Halloween charm. The first half or so of the episode is just SpongeBob and Patrick going about, enjoying the sights and scares of Halloween night. SpongeBob steeling himself with a mantra he got from Patrick that scary equals funny. And this is where our theme begins. SpongeBob is scared about going out on Halloween, so he convinces himself simply not to find scary things scary at all. His starting want basically boils down to wanting to not get scared. So throughout all of the spooks and scares of Halloween night, SpongeBob is just laughing it off, which gets the attention and frustration of the Flying Dutchman, who takes him and Patrick onto his ship for a spooky ride along with a song that I can't play because Viacom would probably have me yeeted out a window. I'm sure you could find it on probably the Nickelodeon official channel or something. It's really catchy. Oh hey, is that Longhorse? I didn't know they had a family. I don't know what this thing is, but I like it. It's cute. SpongeBob's laughter at the horror ride only makes the Dutchman more angry, enough to rip the souls out of his friends' bodies just to scare him. Really? 2 people literally just die in front of you and you start egging and TPing them? Children really are the epitome of primal evil, but showing off the ghosts of their friends is enough to genuinely make Patrick die of a heart attack. So SpongeBob realizes the facts. Being scared can be harmless fun that you can laugh off and enjoy, but fear is a natural response to danger, like the danger he and his friends are all in. His beginning want to not get scared works perfectly with his need, which is to actually face his fears. If SpongeBob had allowed himself to get scared in the first place, approaching fear with an open mind and actually confronting it without the veil of just laughing about it, none of his friends would have ended up in danger like this. And ironically, it's the Dutchman that ends up scared in the end by the yellow submarine fever dream of SpongeBob's mind. Though honestly, I'm with the Dutchman on this one. That's absolutely horrifying.
We learn not to be afraid, to never be scared of being afraid again.
In less confusing words, they've learned not to be afraid to get scared. And I think that's a good moral to have. Of course, it's natural to want to avoid getting scared, but fear, like all other emotions, is part of life. If you've tricked yourself into never feeling fear, you've removed your ability to perceive danger, which can only end up putting you and everyone around you into real danger. Things that are scary and not actually dangerous, sure, you can laugh it off, but only after you've gotten scared by it. That's part of the fun of horror media. It's fear without the danger. Why make yourself unable to be scared by something that's meant to harmlessly scare you? I can't pass judgment on which is better as a story, or which is a better Halloween special, Scaredy Pants or Legend of Boo-kini Bottom. I don't think I've earned that authorization. But if I had to say, while I'm nostalgic for Scaredy Pants, and it is one of the greats, I think Boo-kini Bottom just manages to come out over it, but that's just me personally. I love the stop-motion aesthetic and the visual humor, the story is tight and works with its humor to actually give us a moral all the while, and it's got a great song to boot. What more could I ask for? Honestly, part of me wants to move Legend of Boo-kini Bottom somewhere onto my top 10, but I'm not sure where. I'd have to think about it. Now, we still have one more thing to cover this Halloween, so be ready. Halloween is literally just around the corner.